Across America, a quiet crisis is spreading like smoke through every corner of society. It's not a war or a pandemic this time. It's something more invisible, something that hides in plain sight every time you swipe your card, pay rent, or fill up your tank. It's the feeling that money disappears faster than you can earn it. That no matter how hard you work, you're always starting over at zero. And if you're honest with yourself, you probably feel it too. The truth is, more than 75% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Every 2 weeks they get that direct deposit, breathe for a moment, and then it's gone. Bills, groceries, gas, credit cards, insurance, taxes, all of it. But here's the disturbing part. Many of those people aren't poor. They're middle class, college educated, even making six figures. They're not lazy. They're not careless. They're just trapped in a system that was never designed for them to truly get ahead. Somewhere along the way, the American dream quietly shifted from owning a home and saving for the future to simply surviving another month. The rules of the game changed, but nobody told the players. Decades of policy, consumer culture, and financial illusion created a new reality where even the privileged feel broke. What's happening is deeper than bad budgeting. It's the perfect storm of high costs, stagnant wages, and psychological pressure that keeps people running endlessly on a treadmill called survival. Let's start with the cost of simply being alive. If you compare the numbers, living expenses in America have skyrocketed in ways that make no logical sense. The average rent for a modest one-bedroom apartment has jumped more than 30% since 2019. In major cities like Los Angeles or New York, it's common to spend over half of your income just on housing. Meanwhile, groceries that used to cost $100 now easily reach $140. Gas prices, insurance premiums, and utilities have all risen quietly, like background noise you stop noticing. Until your paycheck disappears and you realize you didn't actually buy anything special. And then there's healthcare, the great American paradox. You can have a full-time job and still go bankrupt from getting sick. A single emergency room visit can wipe out months of savings. One unexpected medical bill can derail your entire year. The average family of four now spends more than $30,000 a year on healthcare when you count insurance, copays, and medications. That's not a luxury, that's survival. When you add everything up, the typical American household spends roughly $3,700 a month on essentials. If you earn $50,000 a year, that's almost your entire income after taxes. It means most people are broke before the month even begins. Not because they're careless, but because the math simply doesn't work anymore. And inflation, the word everyone is tired of hearing, quietly made everything worse. During the pandemic, people were told inflation was temporary, but prices never came back down. Even when inflation rates slowed, the damage was permanent. The $10 meal became $15, the $1,200 rent became $1,600, and nobody lowered it again. That's the cruel trick of inflation. It doesn't need to stay high to hurt you. It just needs to stay there. And while the cost of living climbed, wages barely moved. In fact, the real purchasing power of the average American paycheck, meaning what you can actually buy with your money, has fallen compared to 2 decades ago. So yes, the numbers prove what people already feel in their bones. They're working harder than ever, but somehow getting less in return. And that's where debt steps in, not as a solution, but as a trap disguised as freedom. Credit cards, student loans, car payments, mortgages, debt has become the oxygen of the modern American economy. It's how people buy things they can't actually afford and how companies make sure you keep spending. But there's a dark side. The average American carries more than $100,000 in total debt when you include housing, cars, and education. Even worse, 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing or using credit. That means one broken transmission, one hospital visit, one missed paycheck, and the entire structure collapses. The system knows this. It's built around it. The economy needs you to stay in debt because debt fuels consumption and consumption fuels growth. If everyone suddenly became financially stable, the entire machine would slow down. That's why banks hand out credit cards to college students and flood mailboxes with offers for personal loans to consolidate debt. It's not generosity, it's dependency wrapped in convenience. But the financial stress goes beyond the numbers. It's emotional. Living paycheck to paycheck isn't just about money. It's about mental load. It's waking up at 3 a.m. wondering how to stretch your next paycheck or hesitating to answer unknown phone numbers because you're scared it's a bill collector. It's skipping dentist appointments, delaying repairs, and feeling guilty every time you buy something nice. The anxiety of financial uncertainty has become a collective experience, one shared by millions who look around and think, "Why does it feel like I'm failing when everyone else seems fine?" The irony is that everyone's quietly struggling, but nobody wants to admit it. Social media makes it worse. You see perfect lives, luxury vacations, people in new cars and houses, and you think they've figured it out. But most of them are financing everything. The new car has a 7-year loan. The vacation was paid on credit. The dream home is eating 60% of their paycheck. It's a cycle of pretending and surviving, where people spend money they don't have to maintain an image they can't afford, just to feel normal in a culture that measures worth by consumption. But the real tragedy isn't just economic, it's psychological. Americans were raised on the promise of abundance. The idea that if you worked hard, followed the rules, and stayed consistent, you'd be rewarded. That promise has been broken. What replaced it is a culture of endless hustle with diminishing returns. People are told to grind harder, get a side hustle, or monetize your hobbies, as if the solution to a broken system is to burn yourself out even more. It's not that Americans aren't working hard enough. It's that they're working in a rigged game. The truth is, most Americans were never taught how money really works. Schools don't teach financial literacy. Parents who struggled pass down habits of survival, not strategy. The average person doesn't understand inflation, compound interest, or how debt compounds faster than savings. So people end up repeating the same mistakes, not because they're foolish, but because nobody showed them another way. Imagine this. If you earn $4,000 a month, but spend $4,100, you're technically not broke yet, but you're bleeding slowly. The credit card fills the gap, then interest begins its silent climb. You start each month a few steps behind, and eventually, you stop noticing how deep you've sunk. That's the paycheck-to-paycheck trap. Not falling into a hole, but slowly sliding down a slope that feels normal because everyone else is sliding too. And what's even worse is the illusion of safety. Many Americans think having a job means stability, but in today's world, one layoff can destroy everything. Companies no longer guarantee pensions or loyalty. Benefits are shrinking. Gig work and short-term contracts replace traditional security. Even people with good jobs live one emergency away from disaster. This is why so many Americans feel stuck, because they're doing everything right in a system that rewards the wrong behaviors. They save in accounts that lose value to inflation. They pay off debts that keep regenerating with interest. They're told to invest, but can't because every paycheck is already gone. And while the financial elite grow wealth through ownership, the average person rents their entire life, their home, their car, their time. But here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Escaping the paycheck trap requires radical awareness. It means seeing the system for what it is and making moves that most people won't. It's cutting lifestyle inflation even when you earn more. It's learning to save before spending. It's realizing that financial freedom isn't about luxury. It's about control. You can't outwork inflation, but you can outsmart it. You can't stop the economy from being unfair, but you can stop feeding it with blind consumption. Every dollar you keep is a vote for your future. Every unnecessary purchase is a vote for someone else's profit. The real revolution isn't in Wall Street or politics. It's in the individual who decides to step off the treadmill. The one who says, "I don't need to impress anyone. I just need peace." The one who chooses discipline over image. Because wealth isn't about money. It's about freedom of choice. So if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, don't start by blaming yourself. Start by understanding the system that profits from your exhaustion. Learn how money actually moves. Start an emergency fund. Cut your recurring expenses. Avoid lifestyle creep. Use credit strategically, not emotionally. Invest even small amounts, because the only way to fight compound debt is with compound growth. In the end, the American dream isn't dead, it's just been hijacked. But if you take control of your finances, reject the illusion of normality, and focus on ownership over consumption, you can reclaim it. You don't need a miracle. You just need awareness, patience, and the courage to live differently. Because the truth is simple. If you don't control your money will control you. And that's how millions of Americans, rich and poor alike, ended up trapped in the same quiet nightmare, working harder than ever just to survive another month in the richest country in the world. But the future doesn't have to look like this. The moment you stop chasing more and start building stability, you step off the treadmill. And the first step toward freedom is realizing that you were never supposed to live like this in the first place.